Hey everyone, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Eibach Pro Truck front coilovers for 1 to 3 inch lifts fitting 2015 and newer EcoBoost powered F-150s, excluding the Raptor. If you're looking for a no compromise way to get more height and suspension performance out of your EcoBoost F-150, Eibach has got you covered. This is a full kit that's going to replace your front coilovers and give you more height, great ride quality, and more performance at a pretty good price to boot. Now, first and foremost, this is going to give your truck more height in the front end. Essentially, this functions as a leveling kit. And these front coilovers are actually adjustable using the threaded spring perches down here on the bottom. So these can be run anywhere from your stock ride height up to about 3 inches of total lift, giving you a lot of adjustability. Now, with everything set to its highest settings, you can get some really beefy 33-inch tires on the truck without having to make other modifications. You can even stretch to 34s, but you're going to have more choices when it comes to 33-inch tires. So for that reason, we're going to stick with that as our recommendation. Now, anything larger than that 34, you're going to end up running into issues with rubbing and have to do some trimming. If you really want to get something like a big 35 on there, you'll need a bigger kit. Also important to remember that if you have these riding at their lowest setting or anywhere in between that low setting and the top, the highest setting here, you're going to need to adjust your tire size accordingly because you will, of course, have less physical height. Now, since these are coilovers too, as you can see, they come fully assembled with new springs, new top mounts, new lower bushings, and even some new bolts for the lower mounting points too, making these a totally bolt-in solution. Now, the shocks inside, those are nitrogen charged. It's a monotube damper setup that's designed to give you a great balance of ride quality and control. So whether you're running down the street or the trail, these are going to perform even better than you might expect. Now, that is partially thanks to the variable force valving technology that's inside of that shock, which utilizes a specially designed valve stack inside that damper to smooth out bumps and allow you to stay in control of the truck. These will also allow for increased overall travel too, especially since you're able to adjust the height. So these are going to give you a lot of performance. Now, being that these are monotube dampers, that does mean they're going to be a bit more stiff than your stock dampers. So expect the ride to be a little bit stiffer, but overall it's going to be much more controlled. And of course, the springs are going to match up to that very nicely. So this is going to give you a really nicely damped and controlled setup, but it's not going to ruin the ride quality. Plus, you'll be able to get that extra lift too, and you can adjust these back to stock should you need to. Construction, as you might expect here, is a standout. The bodies of the shocks are made from 6061 T6 billet aluminum, and the mounting points are all anodized for a cool look. Your top hats are also made of aluminum, and they're nice and light, and again, very strong. Now, inside of the shocks here, you're gonna find 46mm pistons, heavy-duty zinc-coated cylinders, and a nitro steel shaft. The springs are made from your typical cold-wound steel, and they're finished with this nice silver powder coat to help protect them against rust and corrosion. So overall, a very solid setup that's going to be very worry-free for you. And it's, of course, typical high quality, which is what we've come to expect from Eibach. Pricing for the kit comes in at about $950, which for a coilover kit is a pretty good price, especially considering that these are adjustable. Now, it is of course a serious price. This is going to be more than your standard spacer lift or something like that, but to get the kind of feature set that you find here from another kit, you'd likely have to spend quite a bit more in most cases. It is of course worth noting that this is only for the front of your truck. If you want to get a lift in the rear, you're going to have to buy that separately or look at one of the more complete kits. But in most cases, if you just want something to level it out and control the front end of your truck a little bit more, this is going to be a great choice for you. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 3 hours to complete. This is a bolt-on kit that is going to simply replace your factory struts, and that means there's no need for a spring compressor. So getting everything bolted up will be pretty simple. However, you are going to have some additional time to get these adjusted, so make sure you plan for that. Overall though, it is a pretty straightforward job. Just make sure that you get your truck aligned once you've got them installed. With that said, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the install process.
For this install, you will need an impact, a pry bar, a bungee cord, a swivel adapter, 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter if necessary, an extension, 10, 18, 19, and 21mm sockets, a ball joint removal tool, 14 and 18mm ratchet wrench, a 19mm wrench, the provided spanner, a tape measure, and also not shown here is a jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing some coilovers on our F-150, so let's get started. So guys, we've got our truck in the air, we've got our front wheels off, and the first thing we're going to need to do is remove the 10mm bolt holding our brake line and ABS bracket in place. So we've got our 10mm socket on our impact, we'll pop that thing off. So we'll get in here and run this bolt out. Then you want to pull your bracket away, And just to help keep track of these little bolts, we'll stick that right back in its spot. Keep it nice and safe. Next up, we've got our nut for our sway bar end link, and that's going to be a 21mm socket. And once you have that off, you can push that end link out of the way and just throw that nut right back on there. Next up, we've got our tie rod at our knuckle, and again, that's going to be our 21mm socket. So run this nut off. Now you may get lucky and it might just come right out. Sometimes you may have to either give it a few taps on the knuckle end with a hammer or use a ball joint removal tool. Unfortunately with ours, or fortunately rather, ours just popped right out. So we'll set that aside. Next, we can get our upper ball joint nut off. Now we're gonna loosen it. We're not gonna fully remove it because we wanna make sure it catches it to get our upper control arm out of our knuckle. So we've got an 18mm socket and our swivel adapter with an extension on our impact. And you can use an 18mm wrench with this, but this also works. You see that'll start to push up. Get that right to the edge. Now before we go ahead and pop this out, you want to grab a strap or a bungee cord and wrap that around the upper portion of your knuckle like so. This is going to support your knuckle and lower control arm so it doesn't just drop out of the way. Make sure you're not pinching on any lines. And we can just pull down on our upper control arm, fully remove our nut, and push up on our upper control arm. It's going to be a little stiff. Then pop that out and put that nut right back on there for now. Gently let that bungee cord take the pressure. Next, we can remove our lower strut mounting nuts. For that, we're gonna grab our 18mm socket, turn the first one off. Now, once you start to remove your second one, your lower control arm and knuckle will drop. So just kind of drop this a little bit slowly. It's gonna be fine. Now we can come to our upper strut mount and we're going to remove the 3 mounting nuts with our 18mm ratchet wrench. Now the one in the back is pretty hard to see, but it's just covered by a little fabric panel. You can easily get to it. So we'll get that one off first. Fully remove that one. We'll get our front 2. These are our lock nuts, so you're going to have to run them out a bit. Next, we're going to need to grab a pry bar and we're going to pry up at the bottom of our strut mount and get our factory bolts out of their seat and get our strut out of the way. Now once you have both studs free, you can pull our strut out of the way. Then once you have this side done, you can repeat the same process for the other side. Now we can install our new strut assembly. So we'll get our upper strut mounting studs in position on our perch and install our provided flange nuts. You want to just get them loosely in place now to hold it. Get this back one in. Once we have our upper mounting nuts loosely in place, we'll push our lower strut mount into its position. Be mindful of your CV axle boot. You don't want to tear that. You may even want to loosen up your mounting nuts a little. But that should be fine to get those in alignment. Now we can install our provided lower mounting bolts. Now it's going to have the bolt, 2 flat washers and a lock nut. And you want to have one facing down and one facing up. So we'll get our first one in position. So we'll line our lower strut mount up and get our first bolt in. We'll get our flat washer and lock nut loosely in place. Get our second one in. Again, flat washer and lock nut. Now we'll grab our 19mm socket on our impact and a 19mm wrench and tighten both of these down. Now we can get our knuckle and our upper control arm reconnected. So we'll get this nut off here. Swing our knuckle back into position. Lift up on our upper control arm. Get our ball joint lined back up. Get our nut back on. That'll hold it. We can remove our bungee cord. Now we can tighten back down our upper ball joint nut. Again with our 18mm socket and swivel adapter. Now we can get our tie rod back in place. So we'll grab that nut off, line it back up with our knuckle, reinstall our nut, and tighten that back down with our 21mm socket. Next, we can get our sway bar end link in place. Once again, grab that nut. Now you're going to need to push down on this and make sure the other side isn't connected because that's going to prevent you from getting it in position. Line that up with its mount. Reinstall your nut. And tighten that back down with our 21mm socket. Now we'll get our brake line bracket reinstalled. Let's pull that 10mm bolt out. Get that line back up. Put your bolt back in. Tighten that back down with your 10mm socket. Now we can finally tighten down our upper strut mounting nuts. So we'll grab our 14mm ratcheting wrench and get these tightened down. Again, this back one is kind of hard to see. Just reach back there. Now these coilovers are adjustable, however they do come already set at the max hip lift height, which is what we want. But if you want to adjust your height, you're going to grab your provided spanner and go to the bottom perch, which has holes to grab. Once that locks in, you can either spin that down or up. Now the max height, how you measure this height is from the base of your strut mount to the bottom of your perch. And the max height here is just a hair over 3.5 inches from perch to mount. Now if you want to lower that, you obviously want to do it the same on both sides. So grab your measuring tape, make sure those are even in between. All the way down is going to be your stock ride height. So again, if you want to adjust that, grab your provided spanner, turn it down, and each full rotation is going to be about 1/8 of an inch. So you want to measure it the same on both sides. And once you have everything done for this side, you can repeat this same process for the other side. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Eibach Pro Truck front coilovers for a 1 to 3 inch lift on your 15 to newer 4-wheel drive V6 F-150 excluding the Raptor. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.